Okay, you live. Let's see if the camera. Make sure it doesn't refresh. 15 seconds. Blah blah blah. Okay. It's all right. Okay. Just eating some Valentine's candies. Okay, just getting a little set up here. Might have to do a little dusting. Got some of the dusting that I've got to do. Let's turn on a fan here. Okay. Okay. Let's turn on the lamp here. Okay, I'm just gonna turn it off. Okay. Well, just hello. Just want to say happy Foxy Valentine's Day. I'm going to be eating out of this little container of Russell Stover chocolates. I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but we turn on this overhead light. Okay, here we go. So yeah, these are the Russell Stover chocolates. So I know this is very sweet, but I'm just kind of doing it live. See if I can get more subscribers so people can see what I'm doing. I know I'm supposed to be going on a diet or something. I know it's already late. It's 11:05 at night in my time zone. I live in northwestern Iowa. Just opening up this container of Russell Stover. I was just waiting for an audience to come in so they can see what I'm doing. All right. Yep, these are Russell Stovers. Wow, look at the rows on there. Might as well go take a photo of it. to get it the right orientation. Okay. So yeah, this is my Valentine's Day special for you guys. I know it's already late, and there's a little less than an hour till midnight. These are the Russell Stover chocolates. I'm going to be eating them. I mean, wow, look what we have here. Looks delicious, doesn't it? All right, now I'm going to go take a photo of them in the box. Okay. Now, how does this look? Here, this got the lid on the very bottom, you know. I'm going to go ahead and eat these up. Mmm. 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 Oh, and Trevor Blendur, or however you pronounce it, says, sounds yummy. And someone by the name of Noodle Star 001 says, hello. Yeah, I'm eating these chocolates. I know it's already late. I had some dinner. I made myself a homemade flatbread pizza for dinner. And now I'm eating these chocolates. And I know it's going to be pretty cold out because yeah, tomorrow here in the area that I live in, which is somewhere in northwest Iowa, we're supposed to get a 70% chance of snow. So yeah, it says it's 28 degrees out. And and they said the snow's supposed to come in by around 3 in the morning. So yeah, for Saturday's weather in my area, is supposed to have a high of 27 and a low of 8, with a 70% chance of snow. It says Saturday's chance for the chance of precipitation 70%. So yeah, it's getting kind of cold, but at least I'm wearing a Fox Kigurumi, and someone says, yeah, it's been freezing lately. Yeah, I'm wearing these Kigurumis. Something nice to wear when it's kind of cold. I mean, we've had an outage with the heating system in our house one time. The heater went out till we eventually started to get it fixed. And in case you guys didn't know, the other day we just got home from my aunt's funeral. I mean, we went to go visit my aunt somewhere in a little town that's settled by the Irish. I have some Irish ancestry that comes from my mom's side of the family. And the other heritage that I have that's from my father's side of the family is some Czech ancestry, There was another funeral I went to, one of my uncles from my dad's side of the family. We went to that back in January after the new year began, and we stayed in an Airbnb. One of my sisters and my folks and I, we went to one of my uncle's funerals last month, and just not long before Valentine's Day. So yeah, that's because back on February 6th, barely before midnight, like about a little over an hour before midnight, that's when my aunt passed away. She was 89. I mean, she would have turned 90 in June. She would have turned 90 just 9 days after I would turn 35. I'm a little over 34 and a half years old right now. So, because might some people might see me, they think they're looking at a teenager, but I'm actually a guy who's in his mid 30s because I was a kid during the 90s. Because I grew up when we still had those CRT TVs back then. That's my generation, and you can still see one of those CRT TVs in the background. I got it secondhand. I ordered it off of eBay. Someone who's willing to ship those TVs if they're that small. Otherwise, then the other option for bulky items, you got to do what's called local pickup. Otherwise, you got to find the one that's the closest distance. Otherwise, you got to have to book a vacation to try to pick it up in person. Because otherwise, a lot of things that are so heavy they can't be shipped. Otherwise, they cost too much to ship. Otherwise, you got to do a freight service, which isn't worth the money to ship things out. And then you got to charge so much to get reimbursed. But other than that, yeah, I just bought a 6-pack of these glass Coke bottles. I know they taste better in these old fashioned glass bottles than they do in aluminum and plastic. Because the aluminum and plastic, they kind of affect the taste. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this open. That be something to drink along. Oh, I'm gonna go finish up these chocolates. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. 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 Wow, look at that. It looks like some strawberry filling. Mm, mm, mm. I love that swirl on there. Well, yeah, kind of a zigzag. Yeah, that little pattern. Mmm. Mmm. Where's that caramel stuff? Mmm. Mmm. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I know there's two ways to pronounce the word caramel. Because one you can see a lot of advertisers pronounce it caramel, kind of like as in keratin, or based on what the word looks like, or based on how it's spelled. While caramel, I kind of know it sounds like Carmelite, as in Carmelite nuns. But there's many words that can be pronounced two different ways. There's another one with that zigzag or kind of a crisscross or whatever this is. Mm, chocolate on the inside. Mm. Oh, Hot Dog Thompson says, I say caramel. Yeah, because growing up, my mom has always pronounced it caramel. That's what led me to pronounce it that way, even if there's a second A in it. But otherwise, either way, it's fun. I did see an advertisement for something called caramels.com. Sometimes they'll ask you, like, do you pronounce it caramel or do you pronounce it caramel or caramel? Well, my family and I, we've always pronounced it caramel. Mm. There's two left. No, as you know, I try not to talk with food in my mouth because I know that's not good manners. Because in those books about manners, you always swallow your food before you continue the conversation. I mean, there's a lot of people that'll sometimes talk with their mouth full because they got something in their mind. But if you're talking to someone and they're eating, wait for them to finish. Oh, it says NASCAR tomorrow, Saturday. Thanks, but sadly, I don't watch NASCAR. Sorry, I don't. I don't watch sports on TV, and very rarely do I ever go to any sports events. I know I've enjoyed baseball and stuff because I used to be on a kids' baseball team when I was a kid in the 90s. Oh, and there's something I'm going to eat. Another zigzaggy pattern. I think that's kind of a mint thing on there. Mm. There's that white stuff on the inside. Could be vanilla or something. Mm. Nope, just one more left in there. It's on a wrapping. Oh, some of this started to crumble. This one kind of looks like a cup thing, almost like a Reese's peanut butter cup, but it's chocolatey. This one's got nuts in it. Mm. Mm. Well, got some pieces of hair on there. Well, just finished up eating these chocolates. So now I'm going to go drink up this Coke here. Nothing like a refreshing taste. Yeah, I went shopping for these glass bottles of Coke because I had them in mind. I went to my closest Hy-Vee. They were out of stock. Then I went to Aldi's. They didn't have them. But finally, I went to Fairway because finally went to Fairway. They had a good substantial amount in stock. I picked up one of these 6-packs of glass bottles, and there's some left over that still had the Christmas print on it. Okay, I finished up these chocolates here in case anyone missed out. Yeah, those are all the chocolates that I ate. Otherwise, you might consider wanting to play back to see what you missed. I know these soda pops have got caffeine in it. So normally I would not drink anything that has caffeine in it this late at night. But just doing this for the Valentine's Day thing. Oh, it says good night. All right. Yep, you have a good night. I know it's kind of late to be eating something like this, but and I need to go plug my computer into the charger. So hold still. They don't want it to cut off on me without warning. Excuse me. So yeah. So yeah, going to that funeral. I mean, it just breaks my heart to miss someone who really meant a lot to this family. My aunt who we just recently lost. Well, that's one of my aunts. She was the eldest of my aunts from my mom's side of the family, who was like a second mother to my mom ever since my mom was a baby girl. Because my aunt because one of my aunts that we just lost, she was born during the Great Depression. My mom was born some months after the end of World War II. So there's like a 10-year gap between my now deceased aunt and my mom. Well, my mom's still alive right now. So, and I was kind of surprised that unlike most of the people whose funerals I've attended, because my aunt, she opted to be cremated, but thankfully at least her ashes were being treated with respect, where they just like bury the ashes in the at the cemetery, kind of like how they bury the casket. You, yeah, how they like bury the casket 6 or so feet below. So it makes me really sad to hear that we just lost my aunt, because I know my late grandma, she opted to be put in the casket and then buried. Because if because my mom be because my mom, she'd rather be put in a casket and then buried if she were to die. I mean, we're all going to die someday. So I'd rather be put in a casket and then buried. I mean, what? Because I think how that's kind of how some people's bodies are treated with respect. I mean, my my mom, because my mom and my siblings, we were raised Catholics. I mean, the Catholic Church has long been opposed to cremation, but they've kind of loosened their stance on it, but as long as it's with respect. I know there's a lot of movie stars, that are cremated, after they die, like Adriana Caselotti, who voiced Snow White in Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I was in kindergarten when Adriana Caselotti passed away. She passed away about a couple months before my grandma from my mom's side of the family did. Because yeah, it was there was because yeah, my grandma was a few years older than voice actress Adriana Castellotti. My my grandma passed away on my eldest niece's first birthday in '97. Because 1 month before I had my seventh birthday, that's when I lost my grandma. And it was so traumatic. Excuse me. And then and then one of my aunts who lived in Kansas for about a quarter century with her husband went, yeah, and until all their kids graduated from high school and went off to college. My aunt and her husband there, they lived in Kansas for a quarter century. Then they moved back here to some place in northwest Iowa where I live. And in which then, when I was about 11 in 2001, within a month, that in about 30 or so days, well, yeah, 20 or so in about 20 or so days after I turned 11, that's when one of my aunts at the time passed away. She was born, that aunt of mine who had a special place in my childhood, and that we used to walk down to her house and stuff when she used to live a few streets away from us in the same neighborhood. That aunt of mine there, she died from lung cancer. She was 60 when she passed away. Yeah, and she was born during World War II. And that's the first one of my aunts that I lost. And then one of my uncles from my mom's side of the family, who was my mom's only brother, then 10 years later in 2011, he passed away, and that's another. I got I got to visit him. I got to visit him and my cousins at the time, just months before he passed. So that's saying something. So yeah, it's very very sad to lose some loved ones in this family. But so these are just some updates on my end, and other than that, until I get a job, I'm working to get as many things sold as I can. Okay. We take out one of these bins here. So if anyone's looking to buy something that I have for sale on eBay, it's called the Fox's Treasure Den. You can look it up. I have over 70 things listed, but here I'm showing some examples of what's in my bin for that I'm selling. So here's this wacky wobbler bobblehead of Tales from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. I bought this from Anna Minneapolis 2013. Oh, and someone says, sorry for all your loss, Mina. All right. In case you're wondering, Mina, that's the name of my fursona. Just for your information. But otherwise, whatever my real name is, I'm thinking of creating a fursona who's actually based on what I look like in real life. Kind of like, so some people can have different personas, like one that's kind of like their alter ego, and then one they can create one that's based on what they look like IRL. So yeah, once again, this is the wacky wobbler of Tales from Sonic the Hedgehog. I got this from Anna Minneapolis. Yeah, I'm selling it for $59.95 for something collectible. It's still mint in the box. And what else I'm selling? Yep, there's this very rare Super Mario RPG Princess Peach keyring, still mint with the original tag. I mean, these had stickers, that sadly they would come off very easily. The stickers, I mean, the adhesive, whatever they use, it just wasn't very strong. It would just fall off easily. Because yeah, I see that. That's where the stickers would just easily fall off. Yeah, without even trying to peel it off yourself. I mean, those stickers weren't very durable according to the research, but otherwise, this comes with the original hang tag. This one I'm selling for $199.95 because it's very rare and hard to find, and it's very collectible. Something someone would want to put in a collector's case. But I also have the best offer thing. So a lot of the items that I have that are kind of what can be considered some of the very expensive items, I have the best offer thing. If someone wants to offer an amount, somewhat, if anyone wants to offer it at some amounts less than the original price, because remember the acronym called like OBO, which stands for or best offer. And I do know there's a newer Super Mario RPG for the Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's this physical copy of Super Mario RPG that I'm selling. I had this on my wish list. I thought about playing it, but I've backed away and decided to sell it anyways. Didn't have any motivation to play it. I know a lot of people will just download digital copies because it's more convenient and that you don't even have to have a clutter of physicals. And then, not to mention, they kind of offer it at a lower price than owning a physical copy. But digital, I mean, you got to be really careful, especially if you really want your money back. If you decide you don't like the game after all, popular or not. But I believe some people should still have physical copies, especially if they have two or more switches, and then they can kind of go from one switch to the other. I mean, those are some of the benefits to having a physical copy. The good news, these switch cases, they're pretty slim, that they can give you a good substantial amount of space if you're a collector. And so if anyone still likes to buy physical copies of games, and if they want to play something on two or more switches, well, I've got Super Mario RPG for the Switch, selling it for $64.95. And of course, I also have the Japanese version of Super Mario RPG. For the Super Famicom, or SFC for short, which is the Japanese SNES. So here it is, Super Mario RPG. I got this back in early 2006 when I got the Super Famicom Junior console. This game came bundled with it. Well, I mean, not like officially, but from some seller. I was still a minor then. Had my brother-in-law purchase that for me. Someone who's got experience doing online shopping. So yeah, I'm selling this, starting bid $25, or you can buy it now for $36.95. But it's been relisted so many times without someone trying to bid it. I've tested this on my Super Famicom Junior console, and it works pretty good. But otherwise, these are region locked, and it may fit in the European SNES. It may fit in the PAL SNES, but it's not gonna read it. It's not gonna play. It'll only work on the Japanese. And I have a video of the game being tested. So if you guys want to see the video as proof that I've tested it, just go to my channel, go through my videos, and I have a video of this game being tested to make sure it works. And if I'm listing games for sale, and if I say that I tested it, I don't just say it in the title, and I don't just say it in the description. I take pictures to show proof that I've tested it, and that the picture displays crisp and other things. Because anything that's used normally, I would test it to kind of make sure it works, so that there's very little to no issues. And if anyone has a problem, they need to contact me. And I'm more than happy to refund their order if something turns out it's defective or just doesn't work. Okay. Trying to put it back in there. Let me rewrap this up. But if you're not sure about anything and you may plan to buy it, be sure to ask questions. And I do, however, post what looks like frequently asked questions. whether it's about an item or whatever I'm selling. I do offer combined shipping, whatever you want to buy that I'm selling, because I do offer combined shipping, which, in case anyone's going to order 2 or more things at once, just add it to your cart. Just add 2 or more items to your cart, then click checkout, and then I can have the number of items that you ordered simultaneously put into one shipping box. And as much as I'm sure that you can be refunded the difference in case of excess shipping, because we want to make sure some buyers are charged a fair amount. And I'm also selling like 2 iterations of the Mario Uno. There's the older one that comes in the tin. I got this back when I was in my teen years. I got it from Barnes and Noble. So this is a one owner thing of this Nintendo Uno. I mean, it was released during the GameCube era of gaming, but still uses most of the artwork coming from Nintendo 64 Mario games. You can see there's Princess Peach from Mario Tennis. That's her classic design for people like me who were kids in the 90s and those older than me who were kids during the 80s. So that's one of these. And then there's the newer Mario Uno, using some of the characters' more modern designs. The Uno Super Mario card game. This one that thankfully has Princess Daisy on it, because I loved Princess Daisy. That, unlike Peach, she's brave, she's bold, she's tomboyish, and we know Princess Daisy, she's full of energy. And yeah, speaking of this Nintendo Uno, the older game, I know there's 2 people that have it in their carts, but they're just not showing any desire to check it out. I mean, I don't know why. I don't think that's a good idea, because then you're kind of ghosting sellers. Because there's a lot of ways how buyers on eBay are ghosting sellers, and it's not cool. I mean, please, if you're going to put it in your cart, at least check out and let the seller know you really want it and that you actually pay for it. Because right now I'm selling things in my collection that I am not obligated to use, but also until I get a job, I got to sell some crap. So that's what I'm doing right now. And this, now I'm selling it for about $34.95 for something collectible. And this one's complete with all the cards and still has the instructions, but there's a sort of stain on the instructions, but otherwise it's still readable. So yeah, the older Nintendo Uno card game, it's from the now defunct Sababa Toys that kind of distributed it or something. Or yeah, that kind of put it in these containers. But otherwise, Mattel's like who made the card games, and then Sababa Toys was like put it in those containers, and then Nintendo I think it's Nintendo that kind of distributed it to retailers. Yeah, that it has a seal of approval, because if you see what it says, the Nintendo's official seal, that kind of shows that it's an authentic product, or they actually got permission from Nintendo. So yeah, that's what's really important, to make sure you're selling the authentic product. Don't sell a bootleg or something that didn't get Nintendo's approval. And then the Super Mario Uno, the newer one, I'm selling it for $12.99, because the ones that I saw that were still mint in the box, they were selling them at kind of a low price. So yeah, that's what I'm selling it for. But it has kind of a little bit of wear on the bottom of it. So just doing everything that I can to get rid of things that I'm not using. Oh, there's one more thing that I just want to show you. Yeah, right now I have it put in a shipping box, like I'm kind of preparing in case it ever gets sold. Yep, this is the World of Nintendo Fox McCloud action figure. It's four and a quarter inches. Yeah, I mean, referring to the figure, it's still mint on its card. So yeah, I've had this listed for almost a year now. Still waiting for it to get sold. For anyone who wants it, I'm hoping to sell it to someone who's a furry who could also be a fursuiter, and that they're into Star Fox. And it has 12 points of articulation. This was released in 2015, so these are obsolete, but otherwise they're very collectible. I'm selling it for $89.95 or best offer. So anyone who wants it, just go right ahead. I have 13 people interested. So if you guys want it, just go to my eBay store, and I know I have it on the featured list of items. On whatever I'm looking to get sold, it has a mystery accessory. That's something important to mention, and it was manufactured by Jakks Pacific, so it's pretty collectible. Oh, and there's one thing I'd like to show you. There's this Yoshi 2D keyring, still mint on its card. I got this from Anime Nebraska in 2012 at the vendors, which I'm selling it for $6 plus shipping and handling. If anyone's a Yoshi fan, just feel free to buy it, and I'll have that ready to be shipped out. And it's pretty cheap. That the cheaper the items are priced, then they have a higher chance of selling. Because the lower the price, the more likely to sell. But if you price it too cheap, then you're not going to get a very good amount of profit, because eBay, they charge selling fees. They charge fees for sellers. Like ad fees and like listing fees and other things. Because promoting your listings, you won't make nearly as much as someone would normally find it on their own, instead of it just popping up for them. Those ad fees, that's one of the things sellers got to pay for, that they won't make quite as much. And you got to be careful with your ad rate. Don't have it too high, or you won't make as much money. Because there's a way that sellers are getting ripped off. That no matter how much the buyer pays, the seller's not going to get all of it. Kind of like that we have to charge shipping and handling fees, if the item's not profitable enough to cover the shipping and handling fees. And then there's these Street Fighter 2 character plushies, from back when Street Fighter 2 was brand new then, in the early 90s. There's Ryu, Kane, and Chun-Li. Yeah. So yeah, these are the three that I have. I got it from some seller from Thailand, but now I'm listing it for sale for $89.95 or best offer. So these are quite collectible, and they're in pretty good shape, almost like new. And there's this Tom and Jerry squeeze toy or whatever that I have listed for sale. I think I have it listed for $9.95. And it's from 1993, and it's from Lanco. And yeah, and I think it was sold in Spain. Yeah, whatever this is. I think it's kind of meant to be used like a pool toy. I got this from a seller some years ago, but now I have it listed for sale just to clean out my collection. And there's this, what's pretty rare, this Tom and Jerry, this Tom and Jerry Tom cell phone strap holder, I think what it's called. I've seen something like this before, but only then smartphones were starting to eclipse the old clamshell phones, and that otherwise this is kind of a something intended to be clipped onto what looks like the antenna for clamshell phones at the time. And it's something that was pretty trendy in Japan. You know, those cell phones things to clip onto your phone. Yeah, and the body can turn around and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And it's still mint with the original hang tag and this original factory plastic bag thing. And I'm selling it for $149.95 because I didn't see another like it on eBay. So that's why I'm declaring that this is pretty hard to find anymore. So yeah, it's pretty sure it's pretty hard to find that it's worth a lot of money to be considered collectible. And that kind of those cell phone strap things are kind of not so trendy anymore. Now they're more of a collector's item if anyone wants to think back in time from back when those used to be popular. Okay. Oh, and one thing I also want to mention, that after someone buys something that I have listed for sale, I kind of include something which I call it a note of gratitude. That it's very imperative that we, the sellers, thank the buyers for their business so we can make them feel like they're welcome customers, that they're welcome to shop again anytime. And it's very imperative that as sellers, that we leave buyers feedback so we can make them feel welcome. So, and speaking of feedback on eBay, if you're the buyer, you're not really required to leave seller feedback, but it's just encouraged. Feedback is supposed to help. It's supposed to help buyers in general learn from people's experiences, whether or not they should do business with a particular seller. But it's a good idea that sellers maintain a good reputation and that they have a good record of keeping their buyers satisfied. I mean, we all have to do what we can to keep our buyer satisfaction scores up. I mean, that's our job as sellers, keep our buyers satisfied. If any buyers are not satisfied, what they're supposed to do is contact us and give us time as sellers to offer a resolution on how to make it right. Because I do include in my note of gratitude that if the buyer's not satisfied, they should need to contact us, see what we can do as sellers to make it right for them in the future. But other than that, I'm just striving to get my items sold that I no longer need because right now this camera of mine, it needs fixing. So right now at the moment I'm kind of doing some shorts or whatever that I know are the kind of videos that'll often get more views, especially especially people that don't have the time to watch full-length videos. So this is what's wrong with my camera. If you see, it's starting to act up. I accidentally dropped it a few days or so before this Christmas break. This is why I'm really upset. The picture won't display. And I did try to reach out to Canon on their website and stuff, and then they told me that the repair cost is going to cost $500, and I don't have that kind of money right now until I get a lot of things sold or at least have a job or whatever's going to keep me financially supportive. And that's why someone that wants to make some videos and post them, that I'm looking to boost my subscriber count, because I only have over 460. I'd like it to keep going, so people know what kind of content that I like to create. So that's my dilemma. Oh, and my Nintendo Switch. Something just happened that even though the Switch works, just the picture won't display when on TV mode, and it's leaving me with no choice other than to play games in handheld mode. So that's what I'm really upset about, is now we need to get my Nintendo Switch dock repaired so that the TV mode thing can be working properly, so I can see the picture. And it's going to cost me $99 to get my Nintendo Switch dock repaired. So that's why I really need you guys' help in getting my items sold and whatever can be done to keep me financially supportive. And I mean, if you don't have the money to buy what I have for sale, just share the listings onto your social media and help reach out to more potential buyers. That the more you share it, then the more likely more buyers can be reached. I'm also selling some movies and stuff, the physical ones for people. If there are some people that still want to collect some physical ones, I'm selling some VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, especially, even though I still like to watch some things on VHS, because I grew up in the 90s. I do have a VHS collection and was shopping at Goodwill to shop for some media on VHS, and I'm working to downsize my collection. And I'm kind of reducing my collection so I only keep what sparks joy. I mean, I'm keeping the Robin Hood and the Fox and the Hound on VHS. Those are the ones that I'd be likely to watch when I want to watch anything on VHS. Those are my biggest keepers. While some of the other things I'm selling just to downsize my collection, and whatever I sell them for, I sell them for more if they're in great working condition, and if they're in great working condition, and if they still have some of the promotional things, like those coupons and stuff, even if they've already expired beforehand, kind of like what people would buy, things would still come with those coupons, like if they bought them new from a department store. Because I know the Disney movies back then, they would only be in department stores for a limited time, and then there's a date they would go on moratorium, because the thing called the Disney Vault. That's some of their VHSs, DVDs, and Blu-rays of movies. They'd only have them in stores for a limited time, and then Disney would like shelve them. Yeah, like put them in storage. If people don't buy it before the deadline, then they go to the Disney Vault. And some people were opposed to it, even though it was the buyer's responsibility that they buy them before the deadline if they really want it. So, because that's what kind of made things unique about Disney. And I know there's some people that are going to that sign up for Disney Plus and other things to is because now most people are kind of like streaming movies and TV shows just so they can watch it on their big TVs, like if they have what should look like a home theater. And then if they want to watch it online, I mean, streaming movies and TV shows, I mean, it's very, very convenient, but really not for on the go. Because then if you're going to watch movies on the go, you're going to have a, like in the car or something while on road trips, you're going to have a portable DVD player or portable Blu-ray player, or that your car would at least have some kind of a video player for DVDs or Blu-ray. So that would be something. Because otherwise, streaming you gotta like be at home and have be connected to the internet. That's what you got to do if you're gonna stream it. You got to be connected to the internet to watch it, and then if the internet goes down, then that can be a problem, and then that interrupts your movie time. And then should your internet be back up and running, you better finish where you left off. Especially now that a lot of people rent movies like digitally. I mean, if they want to check it out, and because when I was a kid during the '90s, we used to have those physical video rental stores, like Blockbuster. But what I really remember back when I was real little, there was something called Premiere Video, that had the star on it. That was something that I can remember. Which was the one on the corner of Morningside Avenue and Lakeport in that little shopping center. And then was as I was getting closer to adolescence or something, then Premiere Video became Video Update, and then in my teenage years it became Movie Gallery. And then those rental stores, they've been going out of business in favor of kind of renting them online, or some stores having the red box if people wanted to rent movies and video games and other things. And and the Netflix, back when they used to kind of ship media to you. If you're going to rent it, then you had to like send it back to return it. So, and those were the days back then. Do kind of miss the physical video rental store format. That's how I remember renting movies. But at least we got something more convenient. Now people have those flat panel TVs. I grew up with CRT TVs. Now most households have these flat panel TVs, especially in a size to look like they're in a movie theater. As now more people have their home theaters, and now the price of going to the movies and cinemas, it's been going up in recent years, and now there's more people that would rather watch movies at home. And then the more people just watch movies at home, then that's going to kind of kill the movie theater industry. See, and then that kind of kills the movie theaters, and that could kind of put them out of business if more people are streaming movies at home, even if it's new. Kind of like I know there used to be movies released direct to video to watch on what was called the small screen at the time, if at home. Because they would have some movies released direct to video, a lot of sequels to some Disney movies, some being prequels, some being midquels. Yeah, there were some they'd be directly onto like VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. Now a lot of these direct to video movies, that's something to be exclusive on some streaming platforms. Some are exclusive to Netflix, some exclusive to Amazon Prime, blah, blah, blah. And now some of them, you got to have a special subscription in order to watch some of them. But, and I know I've been talking a lot about other things, but this is just my Valentine's special that kind of started with eating those chocolates, and I need to go throw those chocolates away, and I'm going to go ahead and close off this stream, which as long as I'm trying to find some jobs, I'm just trying to get as many things sold as I can that I no longer need. And I'm getting a little sweaty in this kigurumi right now, even though this is something to kind of wear, when you get too hot. And I mean something to wear when your house is cold or something, and that you need something to keep you warm. And these kigurumis, they're made of fleece with about at least 3 or so layers of whatever can keep you warm. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream right now. And it's after midnight, and I just hope you guys all had a wonderful Valentine's Day. So that's it for now. I will see you guys later. This is Mina Fox signing off.